There we go. Alrighty. What is up, everyone? Welcome to a holiday Christmas special here on Revolution Radio, here on the Renegade Roundtable YouTube. I am Jeffrey Kirby. Today, first off, I just want to say, for those that do celebrate, Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope everyone has an amazing time with your family. For those that are going to spend time with their family, and for those that are not going to be able to spend time with their family this year, it sucks. It really will. But at the end of the day, if you got to do it for safety measures, you would much rather have that be the case, where you're not together for the safety of everyone else in your family. But I do want to say, how is everyone doing tonight? For me, I'm doing good, and like I said, Christmas is 2 days away. Festivus, I think, is today or whatever. I got a couple I might want to get off my chest here throughout the show, as we're just going to kind of sprinkle them in. Today's going to be kind of a chill show too. We got a lot to discuss. We got to discuss the win over the Titans, and there were some ugly things that we need to discuss in that game. Some press conference quotes that came out, I guess, today that were pretty interesting. Talk about the Pro Bowl roster, and might have been a snub or two. We're going to get into that. And then also we're going to break down the Chiefs versus Steelers game and the possibility of it getting postponed. In your opinion, who are the best football players in the world? Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo? So obviously, in terms of you, first off, thank you for stopping by. That's not the kind of football I talk about here, but to give you your answer, I think I'm probably just gonna be basic. I'll probably say Cristiano Ronaldo. But yeah, for me, I don't watch that kind of football here in America. Obviously, soccer. We're here talking American football here, but again, do appreciate you stopping by as well. But yeah, we got to get into some things here because, and if you see me kind of glancing over, I got a lot of tabs that we're going to be discussing as well. You're going to say Lewandowski. All right, I'm gonna take your word for it. Like I said, I don't know a lick about soccer, about football, whatever. Yeah, I don't know a lick of that. I'm more into the baseball, the football, or the American football and the basketball. Question: hooligan fans in American football, as in European football, exists, and if you do not know, the fans in Europe are very crazy fanatics. If you're asking about what American fans in American football are like, it's insane. We always make the saying that football, or the NFL, the National Football League, is king. And you'll always notice the most viewed show every year is the Super Bowl. And this is something that I will get into later on this year, and I'll give you an example here about something that we'll see in 2 days for Christmas here. The National Basketball Association, the NBA, they're always known for playing a bunch of games on Christmas. And just like how the NFL, the National Football League, does that for Thanksgiving. For those that do celebrate, I do know I believe, some countries that don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And Christmas, like I said, is a typical basketball day for when it comes to American sports. Well, this year, you're going to have the National Football League and the NBA, the National Basketball Association, going at it together. You got a couple games for football, and you got a couple games for basketball as well. And it's going to be insane to see what the ratings are going to be like. And this is really going to prove something, that if the NFL can still pull out higher ratings than the NBA, that's going to be a true showing at the fact that the NFL is truly king. European basketball fans are crazy, throwing smoke, torches, cursing, cheering really loud, compared to NBA fans who are calm. So the thing is with the NBA fans, with the regular season, yes, the fans can be kind of calm, but once you get into the playoffs, it becomes wild. It's a very wild thing to see. We had a crap load of instances throughout the throughout this year's playoffs. And I understand there are certain circumstances because of COVID and, based on fans being able to come back and watch their teams, people were acting like complete animals and didn't know how to act. But NBA fans, I mean, once you hit the playoffs, they become very loud. I could definitely see European fans, and from what I have heard too, European fans for basketball are pretty insane. And I know for an example with baseball here in America, and I understand we got off topic here, but it is what it is. We'll get into the Steelers here in a little bit. When it comes to like baseball, for an example, the NBA or regular season, it is what it is. But then once you hit the postseason, the littlest things will make the crowd go nuts. A player walks, the place is going insane. Imagine what it's like when a home run is hit in the ALCS, the NLCS, the ALDS, even in the World Series. It is insane. And that's the thing too. When I just mentioned how the NFL or football here in America is king, the playoffs the fans are not as you don't notice them as much, which is kind of insane to say. You definitely notice them, but you don't notice them as much. Hey, my man, also, if you want to, drop by in the comments, comment anytime. If you got any more questions or comments you want to say about the European football, that would be kind of cool, too. I'm interested to learn about that as well. But, dude, I do need to get into the topic at hand, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the win that they had over the Tennessee Titans. Now, I just want to look at something real quick here, and I actually have it pulled up. We're going to go ahead. We're going to pull this up real quick here. Let me get everything ready. Let me make it to where you can see me as well. There we go. Perfect. So, what you're seeing here is just the team stats of the Steelers-Titans game. And I understand that this isn't everything, but there's a lot of alarming things to discuss here. Look at the first downs. Obviously, the offense was almost non-existent. As you can see, 168 total yards of offense, which I'm not mistaken is the first time in Pittsburgh or in Ben Roethlisberger's career where he's had like less than 200 total yards. Something like that. It's pretty insane. 12 first downs in a 4-quarter game. That means you're only averaging 3 first downs a quarter. That, my friend, in December is just not acceptable. And we will have to have a discussion about that. 2 for 11 on third down. That is inexcusable. You have to be better on third down. You have to be. Especially when you look at the 3 teams that you're going up against the rest of the year, where you're going at Kansas City, you're at home against Cleveland, which, yes, they just lost, but, there's still a team that you have to watch out for. And then you get Baltimore again. Total plays here, 45 total plays versus 78. That just shows, and again, that goes back to the lack of efficiency you had on third down and the lack of the defense. While you had more drives, it was just insane. 3.7 yards per play. That's just, we got it done here. But the Titans, they look like a whole different team without Derrick Henry. They look, as you could tell, and there was graphics being shown where when Derrick Henry was on the field, the amount of 1 deep safety you had versus 2 deep safety, was actually a pretty drastic difference. And because they're not really afraid of the run game. Yes, the Titans can still run the football, as well they saw, but yet again, consider the source on who they played here. That you just noticed that, and Ryan Tannehill has not looked the same. It's just not good when it comes over there. Yeah, just 16 to 25, it is what it is. You did get another interception. You were able to get an interception there. This right here, this is something we need to talk about right here. Here, there you go. Right there. That's what we need to talk about. 35 rushing yards. 2.1 yards per rush. And this right here, 201 rushing yards given up. And for those, if anyone is commenting, I apologize. I'm pulling up the chat here on my phone as well, so we can take a peek. Okay. 201 rushing yards, giving up 5 a pop, which is right around what you're averaging, given up per play in the NFL or this year, which is last in the NFL. Which, by the way, I don't know if anyone realizes this. If you keep this up, this could go down as the worst rushing defense in franchise history. And we all know, Steeler fan or not, steel curtain and just smash mouth football. This, my friend, does not look like smash mouth football. You getting beat for 200 yards on the ground just pretty much shows that you got out-assed. 1 for 3 in the red zone. You would like to see that a little bit higher. 5 penalties. You you're only averaging about 5 yards a penalty. It was really 6. So you would like to see that number down a little bit, but I can I guess live with that. This right here was huge. Here, let me. Well, you're not gonna be able to see. We're talking about the turnovers here. In fact, here we'll do this. I'll move it so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. You're able to commit 4 turnovers, which was, that right there was so clutch for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. You needed that badly, because if you did not commit those 4 turnovers, you were not winning this game. And especially, again, you look at here the time of possession, it was they controlled the game for, what was it, almost 66% for 2/3 of the game. The Tennessee Titans held on to the football almost 40 minutes. You cannot have that. And you cannot have that, especially against this team coming up in Kansas City. And yes, we will get into the COVID, I guess, outbreak-ish, you want to call it. We will get into that. But you just cannot have that. I'm sorry. And, all right, we're going to go back to full screen here now. And, yes, TJ Watt had another phenomenal game. We all saw the infamous post of him getting held, which, for those that like to say he doesn't get held, for those, that right there should shut you the absolute hell up. Actually, here, we're going to go back to here, because I want to go into the box score here. And again, not everything should involve the box score. I understand that. But these were some alarming things here. You were able to hold Ryan Tannehill to less than 5 yards a pass, which is pretty nice. You like to see that. 60 to 25, 148 yards. That's just not really that great. This right here, you cannot have 12 carries for 18 yards. And I understand, too, that Tennessee's run defense was pretty good going into that game. But and I understand. I love Najee Harris. I like him a lot. And I understand you can make the arguments, and hindsight is 20/20. But I have been on record saying I really would have preferred for us to really booster the offensive line even more in the draft of what they did. And again, you won't hear, you don't hear me say that when Najee does go off for 100 or something like that. I get that. But, and not all of it is Najee's fault. Part of it might be just a rookie and just learning more about the vision and stuff, exactly where his holes are. But again, not all of it is on him. I feel like some people have the old philosophy of fix the run game with the running back, and I'm personally one of the people that believe that if you really want to fix your offensive line, fix it with the offensive line. Deontay Johnson, 5 for 38. He caught all 5 of his targets. You like to see that. Pat Freiermuth which it's looking like we're not going to get him in concussion protocol. That was scary. For those that did watch that game, that was pretty scary of what we saw. It's just, you hope he's all right. He seems like he's all right. And this right here, Chase Claypool, something that we do need to also get into as well. Again, Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden had himself a damn game. Yes, there was a play or two where he got burned, and you know this was also his first game back in a month. But again, that tackle that he had, which, can we also talk about the spot? That spot was terrible, and it did not matter what. And yes, it should not matter what any other fan base says, because you know at the end of the day, you really should not give a damn. But even when your rivals are saying, yeah, that was a bad spot, there was no... That should say something. But Joe Hayden making a hell of a tackle. TJ Watt having another good game, another 1.5 sacks, which, again, we'll have to have a discussion about him. And that is something that we're going to discuss in terms of what NFL execs had to say about him earlier. And then after that, you know, Joe Schobert had a nice interception in the second half. You really like to see that. Or was it in the first half? They all just kind of blurred together with me, honestly. But yeah, Julio Jones, you know, 5 years ago, you were going up against Julio Jones with this defense. I'd be like, holy shit. But, you know, again, all pedestrian numbers, but this right here, you know, another game where the defense gave up over 100. Averaging 5 a pop. You know, you just cannot have that. You really cannot have that. All right, let's go back into full screen here. And, you know, obviously, I want you guys to let me know what your guys' thoughts on this game were. At the end of the day, you can have multiple ways of looking at this game here. You can look at this game and say, yes, it was nice to win. I was going absolutely nuts watching this game, and when we won, it was a great feeling going up against a team that, if they would have won, would have had the number 1 seed. So you're going, obviously that goes for something. And that could possibly be another quote-unquote signature win, like the Baltimore game as well, but mostly also that Buffalo game. But you can look at this and say, and I've been on record on this. I've said, if the Pittsburgh Steelers were not going to win another game from when I said that a few weeks ago, it would have sucked, but I wouldn't have been furious. And I know that's going to trigger some people, and that's fine. And I'm going to explain myself. I'm not obviously saying I want the Steelers to tank. That's not the case at all. But if you know for an absolute fact that you're not going to the Super Bowl, and the way that this team is constructed, unless they could just get some magical wand, some magical, power, some, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, make this team great kind of magic, we all know this team is not capable of going to the Super Bowl. We understand, too, that you're going to need a quarterback in next year's draft, or coming in next year. Obviously, there's a couple quarterbacks that you could possibly look at. It seems like the favorite of Pittsburgh is Kenny Pickett for obvious reasons. He also seems like he's QB1. Some might still have Matt Corral, but I think the majority will say, will end up saying Kenny Pickett. But if you say you do go to the playoffs, which would be absolutely phenomenal, I would love to see that. I'd love to see Ben Roethlisberger try to get there one more time before he rides in the sunset. But if they were to lose, I wouldn't be mad, because that could give you a possible better chance at getting one of those top tier quarterbacks in the draft. And I don't want to sound like just tank or anything like that now. But I'm also just looking at it from both ends. I just don't want to get into this middling road of, which honestly seems like the idea that's going to happen the most is just him, or just the Steelers kind of being a middle of the road the last few games and having to fight for a possible spot or figure out what teams ahead of you could possibly go for a quarterback here. And we could play mock draft game. I know I did a reaction a few weeks ago to Mel Kiper's, or it was Todd McShay's reaction to his mock draft, which, by the way, if you haven't yet, go check that out. And also, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe as well. Also, if you haven't yet as well, if you have a Facebook page, make sure to like Revolution Radio's Facebook page. And also, if you don't have a Facebook, well, then you can follow us on Twitter, also at Rev Radio Live. That's all, REVRADIOLIVE. There you go. There is that. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program. We could do that too. I can look up a couple mock drafts here and just, we could play the mock draft game just to see, which, we might as well for the hell of it, for the culture, for a couple minutes. Let's just look up some NFL mock drafts, because I've seen Kenny Pickett go as high as 8. And so let's see. Let's go CBS Sports here. Perfect. Cool. Let's go screen. Here we go. All right, so number 1, Kayvon Thibodeau, whatever. Cool, whatever. Not really worried about these right now. See, this was what I like to call a pressure point team. These are 2, I think, quote-unquote pressure point teams to go for quarterbacks. This is a very wild card. Carolina's now wild card. I think they could really go for one, but here they go for Evan Neal, which will actually be a good value there. See, here we go. Number 9, Atlanta taking Kenny Pickett. So if that is the guy that you want, well, now you have a guy too. Let's see. Okay. Which, by the way, this scares me right here. I'm a big Ohio State fan. Everyone knows that. That right there terrifies me. And the Steelers, here you go. Matt Corral. Okay. So according to whoever did this mock draft, he is the best quarterback in the draft. And, it'll all be based on preference. Honestly. And so you get Malik Willis going to Minnesota. So that's interesting, so that's a question on what the hell are they going to do with Kirk Cousins. And then obviously you could go the route of Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, if that whole thing. Let's go back to full screen here. You could go the route of Aaron Rodgers or any of that, depending on whether he's willing to waive his no-trade clause here. Deshaun Watson based on the legal stuff. Russell Wilson, if he can find a way to get out of whatever the hell slump he is in, which I do think they rushed him back as well, and as we're seeing. You have those options, but you have to take all aspects into consideration here. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan. Steelers win, I'm going to go nuts. And if we still lose in that moment, I'm still going to be pissed. It's just the natural part of being a fan. All right. I do want to get into something here. And this goes back into that Tennessee game here. So we have a tweet from here. It's from Dave Lally. He covers the Steelers for DK Sports. Got a couple friends there that do that. Shout out to Smitty and Around the 412, which, by the way, they're doing some great stuff over there with Rockin' Around the 412. I'll give you guys the shout out for that. So here's a tweet here from Dave here, and I'll zoom up real quick here for you guys. Matt Canada in a press conference. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong one. Here, Matt Canada says that the Steelers will see where Kevin Dotson is physically because he has not played since that Detroit game. So that would be nice to see, to get someone like that back. And here you go again. Matt Canada says that he has not been told by Adrian Clem by anything regarding the Steelers offensive line coach leaving for Oregon. Which, by the way, Caleb, go Ducks. I'll do it for you. But get him the absolute hell out of here. And that's all I got to say. But as we're over here looking at, I'm looking for my one tweet. Oh, here we go, right here, perfect. Matt Canada was asked why Claypool did not play in the fourth quarter on Sunday. This is where it gets funny. We're trying to get all the guys involved at certain times. It was kind of the rotation we had going at that spot. Nothing more specific than that. That, my friend, and we're going to full screen again, is what I like to call baby back bullshit. I'll repeat that again. Baby back bullshit. There is no way in hell in the fourth quarter of a clutch game, in a must-win situation, are you taking... Yes, I understand what he did against Minnesota was a very boneheaded move. I get it. But I'm sorry. You cannot hit me with the, this is a punishment now for that, or, yes, he did not have a good game, and yes, there was a catch in the first, on that first drive he should have had, but that was a tough catch, but we expect, Claypool to make those kind of catches. Really? A rotation? And that's, oh, I'm sorry, you're trying to get Ray McLeod? Really that involved in the fourth quarter? Huh? If that's the case, well then I'm going to McDonald's after this. I'm going to order 3 dinner boxes, eat them all within an hour, and I'm going to get a 6-pack within that hour. Yeah. Okay. I'm actually interested. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Might as well go here. And tweets are powered by Revolution Radio. Here, Matt Canada is less than impressive, which there has to be a discussion about this offense. And we all have had this discussion about the offense. We could get into it again. If this is true, so be it. If he got benched, why not just say it? What am I missing? Yeah, that's the thing. If you benched him, just say it. I think we would much rather just say, hey, we understand that you got benched. Hopefully, you can get your head out of your ass, and there you go. For the last few weeks, it seems he's been in every other drive. No rhyme or reason, just every other series. AKA, he got benched. Did anyone ask Tomlin why is he still coaching? Canada is hot garbage. Okay. And that seems to really be about that. Yeah. If he got benched, just say that. Just say it. It's okay. We get it. Don't start hitting us with some baby back bullshit of, oh, we're trying to get other people and then blah, blah, blah. No. I understand we were all born just not yesterday. We're not stupid here, Matt. Which we can have this discussion again where the offense in the first half looked absolute. I mean, the offense really did not look good at all this whole game. And the defense, once again, bailed you out. Badly. And yes, this was a game that the defense needed. Or in terms of, you did only give up 13 points. Yes, there was Cam Hayward even said it earlier in his press conference today. There was the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the good was obviously you only gave up 13 points and you did win. Giving up 200 yards on the ground was just not good. But then again, you were able to commit for 4 turnovers, which this defense once again really needed. And can we talk about TJ Watt for a minute? Here's a stat for you guys. TJ Watt, when he has more than 1 sack, 6-1. The only game, if I'm not mistaken, that they lost where he had more than 1 sack was against Green Bay, and I believe he had 2 in that game. He is dominant. And here's another fun fact for those that didn't know. TJ Watt is averaging the second most sacks per game in NFL history in any given season since sacks have become a stat. Dickens, he's averaging almost just under 1.5 sacks a game. The only other person that's higher is the all-time sack leader, Reggie White, and it's like 1.7 something. So, something insane. So I don't want to hear anyone, when we're talking about TJ Watt, I don't want to hear anything, because when you're averaging the second most sacks per game in history in a season, that right there should say something to you. In which, by the way here, let's go ahead. Here's something I want to pull up here right now. Let's scroll up here real quick. This was from Tom Pelissero, and this was from the NFL.com here. And I'm hoping that these ads or whatever don't start playing, because I'll get pretty irritated if they do. I do have them muted. NFL execs vote on awards. Who's the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, blah, 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 blah. MVP, Aaron Rodgers. I got no. Either of these guys, Aaron Rodgers, Jonathan Taylor, I have no issue with that at all. Neither. Defensive Player of the Year. As you can see, of course it is TJ Watt with 8 votes. He won a divided race, doubling the 4 votes of the runner-up, which was Micah Parsons, which, two things. Number one, Micah Parsons being a rookie and having a legitimate shot at the Defensive Player of the Year is pretty damn insane. But then what should I also say about that other guy in Cleveland? Which he's actually dealing with a groin as well, similar to something that TJ Watt's dealt with throughout this year. So that's going to be something to watch out for that Green Bay game for anyone that has skin in the game. Just read here. Actually, I'll zoom in for a minute. Try to where you guys can see it. Watt leads the NFL with 17.5 sacks, QB hits with 30, and a sack rate of 6%, which is the highest in the next-gen stat era, which began in 2016. Despite just playing in 12 games this season, missing one because of a groin injury, another one due to a hip/knee alignment, he also missed half of a Week 14 game against the Vikings due to a groin injury. Only Pro Football Hall of Famer Reggie White averaged more sacks per game, which was 1.75. Okay, there you go. In the strike-shortened 1987 season than TJ Watt at 1.46, who still has a shot to take down Michael Strahan's single-season sack record of 22.5 and can impact the game in other ways too. This was from an NFC executive. He can rush the passer, he could drop, and he does a lot of multiple things for their defense. He's not just a pass rusher only. And that's another thing too, an AFC executive. He's not the most gifted dude, but he's relentless. And then real quick, also receiving votes were Trayvon Diggs with 3, Myles Garrett with 3, Joey Bosa with 2, Aaron Donald with 1, Robert Quinn with 1, okay, and then Jalen Ramsey with 1. And we go back to this comment here, that he's not just a pass rusher. That right there, when we talk about the debate of, because it becomes a debate of TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett, it's just how it goes. Because they're the 2 best edge rushers in the NFL. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Yes, do I believe that TJ Watt is better than Myles Garrett? Yes, obviously. Do I have part of it because of the fan and what team they play for? Yes, that has a little bit to do with it. And we can all admit that as well. But this right here, this quote, where he talks about how he can do multiple things, he becomes more valuable. We've seen what this defense looks like without TJ Watt. It's non-existent. And again, when we talk about when TJ Watt has multiple sacks or has more than one sack in a game, it shows how important he is to this football team. I think we could easily all say that he's the most important football player on this team. Easily. I don't really think there's anyone else that comes somewhat close. Maybe Cam Hayward? Maybe Minka? Other than that, I don't think it's close. Real quick here, we'll just go through the rest of it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Mac Jones. All of these guys, either of these guys have a shot. I think if the Bengals have or do go to the playoffs, which they have a good shot to do so, then Jamar Chase will have, I think, a little bit more of an argument. I understand that shouldn't all be the case, but we all know how that goes. And Mac Jones being a quarterback, that has something to say as well. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Michael Parsons. Yeah, that just has that's just written in stone. Michael Parsons since week 9, 9.5 sacks, 16 QB hits, and 3 forced fumbles, and a 22.7 pass rusher or pressure rate. That's pretty damn insane. Coach of the Year, Bill Belichick. And NFL Executive of the Year is also Bill Belichick. Alrighty. So, yeah, that becomes... That's, none of that really surprises me at all as we go back to full screen here. Yeah, just this whole thing with TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett... He's more valuable in the fact that you do see, and yes, on very, very, very rare occasions, you'll see Myles Garrett fall out into coverage, and I understand that sometimes it's a way to manipulate the defense and have we saw that with James Harrison in the Super Bowl. He rushes or fakes a rush. You don't expect James Harrison in that situation to go into the flat. He does. Obviously, we all know, arguably one of the greatest, or not arguably, one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history. But yeah, it's to me, I don't really think you can make the argument, but I think at the end of the day, we all know. And TJ Watt's he has gotten snubbed the last 2 years, and it's time. It's time for him to not get snubbed anymore. And we all need to face facts. Simple as that. Before we get into this Chiefs game, let's talk about the Pro Bowls here. The Pro Bowl rosters have been made, and once again, this is going to be coming from NFL.com. Here we go. Let's transition over real quick here. 2022 Pro Bowl complete. This is the NFC roster. I'll get the NFC or the AFC. Okay, here we go. We could get AFC right here. We can show the NFC too for the hell of it when we get a chance. Offense: Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. And there it goes. It was just a matter of time before that happened. I understand part of it. Because for those that don't know, 33% of the voting for the Pro Bowl is responsible by the fans, and 66% is voted by also the players and the coaches. I personally do not think Lamar Jackson was a Pro Bowler this year for the AFC. I think, personally, I would have rather put Joe Burrow in there. Running backs 3, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon. I don't really have an argument for really any one of those. Wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen. Yeah. Deontay Johnson got snubbed. But, and I think the person I would take out in this situation is Keenan Allen. If you compare the stats, I think in this case, if I'm not mistaken, Keenan Allen has more receptions, but everything else Deontay Johnson has more of. Tight ends, Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, no issue with that. Offensive tackles, yeah, there was be no way in hell any offensive lineman for the Steelers making it on here. This is pretty insane to see. Both of the guards for the Browns, Joel Petonio, who actually ended up having to play left tackle, and he actually did pretty well. Wyatt Teller, Rashawn Slater as a rookie, he's been pretty damn good for them. Orlando Brown, who they traded a first-round pick for, Deion Dawkins, and then 2 centers, Corey Linsley and Ryan Kelly. Defense, for defensive ends, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson, got no issue. Cam Hayward, we see our first Steeler, and we see our second and final Steeler, because only 2 Steelers made it to the Pro Bowl. DeForest Buckner, Chris Jones, Cam Hayward, then TJ Watt, Joey Bosa, Matt Judon. Middle linebacker, Darius Leonard, Denzel Perryman. I love Darius Leonard a lot. Corner, J.C. Jackson, Xavier Howard, Denzel Ward, and Kenny Moore. Free safety, Kevin Byard. Strong safety, Tyrann Mathieu, Derwin James. Derwin James, when he's healthy, he's a dog. Long snapper, whatever. Personally, yes, Justin Tucker, it seems like he's always going to win, but you also have to put Chris Boswell up there in that discussion because he has been pretty damn automatic this year. We could all admit that. And so there's that. There's the AFC. We could go through the NFC real quick because I do want to get into the this Chiefs game because there's some different aspects of what we want to talk about here. Now, let me pull up the chat here just in case anyone else is commenting. And nope, we get more of that. I don't want to get copyrighted. Real quick, offense, Rodgers, Brady, Murray, Dalvin Cook, James Conner. We like to see this. I like to see James Conner making his second Pro Bowl. I am happy for James Conner. I really, really am. Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, and Debo Samuel. Can we talk about real quick how Devontae Adams got triple teamed? That ass got triple teamed. That's pretty damn insane. There's your offensive line for anyone who really cares. Kyle Juicy Juice, Nick Bosa, former Buckeye, gotta love it. Aaron Donald, former Pitt. Jonathan Allen, Kenny Clark, Chandler Jones, Robert Quinn, Shaq Berry. Yeah, it is what it is. Here is that for you guys, for anyone who really cares. All right, let's get back to full screen here for now. Actually, here, you know what? Let's go back to the Pro Bowl thing for 1 second here, because I want to see, too, Pro Bowl snubs, what the experts, and I'm going to put quotation on experts, what they have to say as well. Alrighty. Any players, that would involve us? No mention of Creed Humphrey. Yes, I agree. This was another guy that I was really wanting Pittsburgh to draft. And you could go back. I've been on record for that for close to a year now. I really like this kid. 97.5% pass block win rate. You would love to have that if you were Pittsburgh. Cordero Patterson, he's having a damn good season. AJ Terrell, all right. Austin Eckler. Nah. I guess if you want to put anyone maybe over Mixon, but I don't know. Justin Simmons. Yeah, I'm just going to scroll away from that. I just don't want to have that discussion. Here we go. Nick Chubb over Austin Eckler stands out. No, not really. Not to me. Penei Sewell. And Chiefs center Creed Humphrey. It seems like everyone's going to be on the Creed Humphrey thing, which I agree with. I'm just in all good how Trent Williams is. Yeah, Trent Williams is pretty damn good, even at 33 with the injury history. And this, what was this? What's one thing that stands out in the Pro Bowl? Oh, okay. They love Buffalo's Josh Allen is one of the best players in the league and deserves to be on this roster, but the AFC has whatever against young quarterbacks. It might be time to make it a 4 quarterback per conference. Yeah, it just sounds like you're making an excuse. And pick one player you didn't make, or you didn't have making the Pro Bowl this year, but you will think you'll make it for next year. Dallas Goedert, Jalen Waddle, depending on, what's going to happen with them at quarterback next year. We all saw the rumblings that we all saw at the trade deadline. Devondre Campbell, Patrick Surtain, Josh Allen, Vita Vea, Penei Sewell. I'm going to add in one. I'll add in one. He's one of my favorite players in this draft class from this year. We go Jalen Phillips. That's who I'll go with. That's who I said. I said he would make a Pro Bowl within 3 years, and I would like to see that happen. All right, let's get into this. And here we go once again. All right, let's go ahead and we can take that off now. Let's get into these into this Chiefs game because it's got some stuff to break down. We got 15 minutes to do so, and now everything just wants to start playing. That's absolutely nothing new. Let me just go ahead and take all these tabs off because, yeah. Here we go. Alrighty. So the Kansas City Chiefs are dealing with a little bit of a COVID outbreak with out there in Missouri. They got 12 players right now on the COVID-19 list. 2 of them you will definitely recognize as huge players for that team. We'll start off with linebacker Nick Bolton, who's a rookie, who's the leading tackler on this team. He is out right now. He is on the COVID-19 list. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. 2 other players that are on the list. I personally do think that at least one of them is going to end up back. I don't know which one I'd rather have play, but obviously, and once again, before I continue on, I do want to make a preference that at the end of the day, I do hope that all of these players, for every single player in the NFL that's dealing with COVID right now, let's all just pray and hope that they are all asymptomatic and hope they're all feeling well and hope that, they can't get back here very soon. Right now, there's only one player that is a guaranteed. He's already been ruled out for this game because of his vaccination status, and that is kicker Harrison Butker. So that's something to watch out for. We talk about Travis Kelce being out right now. Well, the backup tight end, Blake Bell, is out as well. Backup corner, Rashad Fenton, is out. And then here's something that we're going to have to discuss. Right tackle Lucas Niang is out. And also starting right guard Kyle Long is out. Also alongside backup safety Armani Watts in 3 practice squad wide receivers. 2 of those players I just mentioned that were not named Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill that we need to discuss is the 2 linemen that were out, the 2 starting offensive linemen, Lucas Niang and Kyle Long. That is going to be a side that you're really going to have to attack if you're the Steelers defense, if you're Keith Butler. We all know who typically plays on that side as well. It's none other than Trent Jordan-Watt. You're going to have to find a way to really scheme up some blitzes, scheme up some pressure on that right side. And I understand, too, you're going to have some help with chip blocks, but you're going to have to find a way to get pressure, especially on Patrick Mahomes, and we'll get into that because I have some keys to this game as well. Steelers are not out, completely clean in this either. They also have 6 players out on the COVID-19 list. Anthony McFarland, Isaiah Buggs, Zach Banner, Montravius Adams, Marcus Allen, and Devin Bush. So right now, 4 of the 6 are on defense and 2 offensive players. So you have a total of 18 players on this COVID-19 list between these 2 teams. You have to ask yourself here, this continues on. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the last 2 days, the Chiefs have not had a positive COVID test, which is good to see, honestly. That's very good to see because you don't want to continue to have an outbreak. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, it's going to have there's a little bit of concern there. You've had a couple tests in the last few days. You got to be fearful what could possibly happen tomorrow and just obviously Saturday and Sunday, because also something to take into consideration. The rosters have to be set by 4 p.m. on Saturday, on Christmas, for that game on Sunday. But you have to bring yourself the question of, is there what is the chance of this game getting postponed? That's something to watch out for. You have to discuss the fact that we just saw 3 games last week get postponed. Now, yes, I understand all the teams had 15, 20 guys on the on the COVID list, and they went through a real outbreak. But the Chiefs have 12 right now. We don't know how many more they're going to get back. We don't know how bad the Steelers are going to be within the next few days. It's a possibility to watch out for. And another thing, too, is the players have changed their minds very quickly on postponing versus forfeit, because the players the union president, J.C. Treader, had to let these guys know, hey, you guys are bitching and complaining about how these games are going to be forfeit. Yeah, but you're not getting paid. Either team. Doesn't matter. You're not getting paid if you don't play. So you better hope that you can play. And another question that will bring into the question of, and this will go back to the conspiracy theory that is the National Football League and obviously I do not want this to happen at all. But what if to say that Patrick Mahomes goes down tomorrow, Saturday? Breaking news: Patrick Mahomes tests positive for COVID. He is on a COVID-19 list. If the NFL were to postpone that game right after Patrick Mahomes tests positive, then you could have a fishy story about that. And, at the end of the day, we all know Patrick Mahomes is prime time. Do I think it's going to happen? No, because that would be a terrible look for the National Football League. And let's be honest, both these teams, the Steelers and the Chiefs, are both teams that we hear every fan base say, oh, they would move the game for those teams. I guess we'll find out. And you have to bring yourself the question of, say Kelsey and Tyreek Hill are out of this game. Because if I'm not mistaken, the line is 8.5. Kansas City has 8.5. You have to ask yourself the question, how much of a chance, how much more of a chance does Pittsburgh have? Something you really have to discuss. Patrick Mahomes has not looked all that great. He's over the last month or so, they're on a crazy win streak, but Patrick Mahomes he hasn't looked like himself fully. And if you take away the other 2 Musketeers over there in Kansas City on their offense, really is going to ask yourself, what is he really going to be like with Mecole Hardman, with Byron Pringle, with I'm forgetting the other. I know there's Josh Gordon. I forget the other wide receiver as well. But what is he going to be like with those guys? With your backup tight end being out as well. So, and your banged up offensive line, you got 2 out, going up against one of the best defensive players, the best pass rusher in football. But then that brings up the question of, how much more of the run game are they going to use? Because we all know, as we discussed earlier, Pittsburgh's run defense is terrible. You're giving up 5 a pop. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they don't necessarily use him all that much in terms of the pass or in terms of the run game, but something to watch out for as well. Because that would be our luck. You really they start running the football and he just has the game of his life. That just would be our luck. And then you have to discuss too the fact that what if it's Chad Henne? Chad Henne has went out in big time games and played well for the Kansas City Chiefs. Went on Sunday Night Football last year, if I'm not mistaken, against Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken, and won the damn football game. Or was it 2019? One of the years he did. And then last year in the playoffs, went out there, Patrick Mahomes goes down with a foot injury. Chad Henne goes out in the second half and then wins them that football game. These are all things to watch out for with this game. And I'm sorry, you have a legitimate shot to win this game. But you cannot start off slow. And here comes to the keys of the game here. Obviously, you cannot start off slow. If you start off slow, and this goes again to Matt Canada and that bum-ass offense, whatever script, the script is terrible That's what we liked. That's what we've been noticing over the last month. The script, the first 15, has not looked good at all. And you want to talk about just the first half in general? Here's a fun fact for you. In the last 4 games of the Steelers in the first half, they have scored 9 points. 9 first half points in the last 4 games in the first half. They've scored 3 points against Cincinnati, 3 points against Baltimore, did not score a single point against Minnesota, and 3 against Tennessee. You're not coming back from that if you're playing Kansas City. I'm sorry, it's just not happening. And another thing is, I just think the defense in itself got to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. He does not like to get hit. And it goes to, how are you going to be able to scheme a way to get TJ Watt one-on-one? You have to dial up some blitzes. Keith Butler, we're going to have to get back to Blitzburg here. You got to help the secondary out a little bit. And another fun fact with that, too, is Kansas City's offensive line is averaging less than 2 sacks given up per game. They've given up 26 or 25 sacks. It's tied for 6th. Pretty damn good offensive line there in terms of sacks given up. I know part of it, too, and this is going to go again, you're going to have to keep Patrick Mahomes contained. Can't let him run around the pocket because that is when he really becomes dangerous. And again, it's just going to come down to the run defense, and they're really going to have to step up if you really want a shot at this game. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. I do know that, what was it, Festus, or what is it called? Or Festivus, where, you're talking about grievances or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Pretty much, I got a couple. Number 1, get Matt Canada the hell out of here. Let's just say that as well. And this run defense is absolutely pathetic and terrible. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. End out here a couple of minutes early. I do got somewhere I do need to head out to. But, again, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. This could possibly be the final Renegade Roundtable podcast here for 2021. Next Thursday, me and my mother are going to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra here in Cleveland. So there is the chance that we might not do a show next week, or the day will probably be switched out for another day, whether it's a Friday or something like that. So be sure to follow us as well at Renegade_table on Twitter. And again, if you haven't yet, smash Revolution Radio's Facebook page. Also, follow us on Twitter at Rev Radio Live. That's REVRADOLIVE. Again, if you ever want to cash up, if you ever want to donate, you can see it right. Is it right there? $sign Rev Radio as well. And again, I do want to say before we go, thank you, everyone. If this is the final show of 2021, I do want to say thank you to every single person who's ever been involved with this, who has ever viewed. For any person who is viewing this, you don't realize how much this means to me, and I can speak on Caleb for this just from conversations, how much it means to him. Got a lot coming for you in 2022. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, whole lot of more reactions. Again, about a half hour from now, day number 5 of 7 Days of Ben Smith is coming out. Try to remember which one is coming out today. Oh, here we go. 2018 passing highlights when he was the leading league leader in passing yards. 2018. That will be coming out tonight as well. If you like these kind of videos, once again, or you like us going live, you like our reaction videos, once again, smash that like button, hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live like this or when I post reaction videos, because I know a lot of people do like them as well. They have been a bread and butter here on the channel. And again, thank you. Have a wonderful Christmas, everyone. Stay safe. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Peace out. If I don't see you again live, see you in 2022. Peace out.